Hello, welcome to this week's video. A little bit late, you may have seen my holding video yesterday, and you may have seen this video from last week. So this is what I'm going to be working on. Obviously I upgraded or repaired this last time. I gave him a new toe. This is what he's looking like now. I've taken off his head and his shoulder pad so that I can get to work straight away on upgrading and fixing up the main body of this figure itself. As you can see there, these figures from Toybiz tended to have the springs in them. So you need to be very careful when cutting straight through these, as I nearly impale my hand on the tips of these cutters. So what I'm doing here is just trying to find a way that I can pry it apart enough to get the end of the snips in, so that I can cut through that bit of plastic that holds it all together, without causing too much damage to the actual plastic itself. So this is the best way I could find of doing it, and it worked quite well. You can see it immediately just severs the two parts separately. But like I said with that spring, the way these figures were designed originally, some of them there was links between the torso and the neck, and as you can see by how wobbly that neck's just suddenly gone, there was a link somewhere across this. You may have seen this in one of my other Spider-Man repair videos on the old Toybiz stuff. This is quite common for Toybiz. They used to use springs quite a lot, I assume to reduce the strain on the plastic itself. So I went and used the cutters and a rotary tool just to hollow that out a bit more, and these are the two parts that came out: a very rusty spring, screw and bits of plastic. And now I've got to fix this neck joint, so I ended up cutting that off as well and then using a rotary tool to make that hole a lot bigger so that I could get this piece out here. With that all done, I at least went and lost the neck piece itself while trying to pry the two halves apart. And this was my room after I turned it upside down looking for all the parts, only to find out they weren't even under my bed or anywhere where I'd removed everything from. You can also see how small they were just there. It was not an easy feat to find it. I did then go and use the rotary tool again to make that hole a little bit bigger, because I plan on putting this socket joint in there at the bottom, just so the neck's got a bit more range of movement. So reassembled and glued back together, I then stuck a peg part into the bottom from the same set of joints that I had lying around. You can get similar things from Hobby Link Japan or something. I don't actually know where I got these from, I can't remember. But you can see I've just cut that little square off, just to make it easy to interchange heads. There's that ball socket glued, super glued way down into that joint, so it's almost flush. It does add a little bit of length to the neck, which you will notice at the end. And then I've made this hole on the lower body a bit bigger, and it made him look a little bit like a pogo stick, and Google searching that for a funny image resulted in a Warhammer style character, but this is probably more accurate to what he looks like. I personally just thought it looked odd. But taking that weird pogo stick piece, I cut off what would be the handlebars, glued it to one of the original pieces from the figure, and used a rotary tool to make it a bit bigger so it would be a nice flush fit in there. Which you can see I've just managed to centre that fairly well, so it would hold up. Now before we move on, I do want to go over how I've done the heads for this. I did print 3 heads, you're only going to see one of them really used in this video. I bought these from CG Trader, I will put the link in the description below. But here you can see them 3D printed. So again, there are 3 styles. All of them are very cool. I'm just going to be using the standard one for this video. I do have the other 2 which will be ready for next week's video. And if you're interested in the giveaway, it will be related to these heads. So you can see that there's the new neck joint, now that I've plugged all that together as well. And so to add the heads on to the neck, you would normally use cling film. I didn't have it spare, but I had this wrapping plastic. So I used that, put a bit of hot glue in the void of the neck, of like the actual head sculpt, popped it on and then pulled it off, and it left a nice socket on there. You can also now see how this torso joint works. This video is all a little bit of a mess, so it's not the most organised video. I'm hoping next week's video will be more organised in terms of the processes. But I've at least tried to make sure you can see what's going on in this video. So now comes the best part of this, is the repainting. I went and bought these paints from a model shop. It took me, I think, an hour to drive and go get this paint. I also used the Halford's metallic green, just to use a base coat because you want to start from the same colour. As I found out the hard way, it's very difficult to then match colours when you start with a white and a green base. So here's the metallic green. This would probably work quite well for the just normal restoration if you did a black coat to begin with. And then there's the second coat with that colour shifting green, purple, brown paint. This stuff is absolutely stunning to work with. And you can see once I've done it to the whole body, the figure looks so much nicer with this colour scheme to it. It's a shame they couldn't do it to begin with, but I know that it's not the easiest paint to work with because it has to be airbrushed on in very light layers and multiple. But you can see how nice of a sheen that gets. And it seems to be fairly accurate to the actual movie representation of him. Now doing the extra paint details, this is the black paint that I'm using. I get a lot of questions with what paint this is. This is the Tamiya acrylic. I do show all my paints on screen for the most part so that you can search them yourself so you know what you're looking for. Because sometimes I can't remember what paints I've used myself. And then here's the gold one that I'll be using as well. So there you can see I've used the gold for the eyes, the black for the mouth, the silver for the teeth, and the silver and gold on the details on the arms and legs. And you can see what I mean there by the neck does seem a little bit long. It sits a little bit high up, but I felt like it was too far in the process now to change it, and especially with this part of the video being filmed today of the upload date, I mean. I really didn't have time to make much change to this. I'm currently recording the audio at 4:30 and this video goes live at 5:30. So yeah, this has been a mad rush to get this out for you guys, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, the rest of this video will be next week. The other upgrades I'll be doing will be next week. And it'll mostly be extras and aesthetics. And the giveaway will also be next week. I'll be announcing the giveaway. You'll be seeing what's properly being given away. I will tell you it is to do with Green Goblin heads, so if you're getting the Marvel Legends one that was just revealed, highly recommend you enter the giveaway that will be up next week. Now obviously Green Goblin isn't complete without his glider, so that's one main thing I need to sort. Now I did buy 3D files for his glider, and I have printed it, and you will see that in just a minute actually. I believe I've got some footage of that. So that will be next week's video essentially. We'll be fitting him out with all his tools that he's meant to have. I say all his tools, I think that's just pumpkin bombs and the glider, and the other two heads that I've done. But yeah, this is just me trying to showcase the articulation I've added. His torso did not get much more of an upgrade. It obviously has more than it did originally, but it's not loads more. The actual body shape didn't leave much to work with. But you can see the head articulation alone on this helmet is fairly good. And then if you link it with the neck, the ball joint that I put in the bottom, you can get a lot more range than the original figure would have had. And he's got a nice bit of looking down as well. So now I will bring in the glider, and you can see it is literally just a 3D print so far. You can see it's very big in comparison to him, which I'm fairly sure is accurate, I believe. Fairly sure this is scaled correctly. You can see because it's loose it will fall apart. It's not been done to the best standard just yet. Like I said, it's literally been printed, cured, and left as is. But those are ball joints in all the sections that you can see. So the foot pedals are on ball joints, the actual wings are on ball joints to the base. So hopefully I can keep that articulation, but as I'm sure you guys know, with paint you very often tend to lose that articulation. But yeah, I am very happy with how this guy turned out. The paint on this just seems to bring it to a next level. Like, you can see the sheen you're getting off of this. But yeah, like I've said, thank you guys so much for watching. Do stick around for the giveaway because that will be next week's video, and that will be on a Friday. I am guaranteeing it. I will not make it late again. And here you can see one of the pumpkin bombs I've already done. Just a little teaser for next week's videos. Or video. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. There's a load of other videos for you to watch.